Hello, everyone. This is Keith with Vital Healing. This piece is part of a short series about what happens when we get triggered, how we carry it forward, and how we can start to stay with ourselves instead of reacting. Have you ever walked away from a conversation and thought, what just happened to me? Not something that the other person did, but something that was activated inside of you. A moment where you were present, and then suddenly you weren't. And you didn't even notice it happening until you were already in the middle of it. Most of us have been there more times than we can count, but we may not have a name for it. This piece is called The Moment You Leave Yourself. And that's exactly what it's about. It's learning to see that moment, what it feels like from the inside, and why catching it can change everything. Here's the piece. The other day, I was in a conversation and got triggered about something. Not in a big or obvious way, and nothing I said out loud, but I could feel it in my body, a tightening, my attention narrowing for a moment, and my mind starting to spin a story around whatever had just landed. As I began to notice it, I could feel that edge that starts to build when something hits a nerve. I did my best to keep the conversation going as I felt the tension in my chest and my breath getting shallow and my mind struggling to stay present. Thankfully, I was able to not react and just stay with it. I'm starting to see more clearly that it's not just the reaction in my body, but how quickly my mind can start to build a story around it. The story is what pulls me away from what's actually happening. I'm noticing that it doesn't always happen at once. There's usually a point where something shifts. A word lands a certain way, a stern look catches you off guard, and suddenly it feels like it means something. And almost immediately, meaning gets attached to it. What they meant, or what it says about us, or what we should say back, and it can build fast. Before we realize it, we're not just feeling something in our body anymore. We're inside the story that's formed around it. And once we're there, everything shifts. It's harder to actually hear what's being said. We're reacting to what we think is happening, not what's actually happening. Fear or anger starts to rise, and it all feels justified in the moment. The more I see this in myself, the more I notice how often it plays out between people. It can start in one person, but then it doesn't stay there. Before long, it begins to move between both people. And now it's not just one reaction. It's two people reacting to each other through their own internal stories. You can feel it in your body, the pull to react or shut down. And that's what I mean by leaving ourselves. Not disappearing completely, but losing the ability to stay present with what's actually happening and to stay with ourselves in the middle of it. When that happens, we're not really able to support ourselves. We're not grounded or open, and we're not responding from anything clear. Something else has taken over, and it's now driving us. So the question isn't just what we feel. It's whether we can see that moment as it begins, not once the story has already taken over, and not once we're already reacting. Because even that small moment of seeing changes something. It doesn't make it go away, but it creates a little bit of space. And sometimes that space is enough to help us stay with ourselves, to find our breath, and not get pulled into the story our mind is spinning. I recorded a walking meditation to go along with this. It's a simple way to notice what gets triggered in you, and to stay with yourself as it happens, instead of immediately reacting. This is part of a short series that I've put together around this idea. And maybe this is where the work begins, not in trying to fix what we feel, but in learning to recognize how it starts and staying close enough to ourselves to see it happen. Thank you for listening. If you'd like to read my other articles, you can find them on Substack or at vitalhealing.org. And if you want to go deeper into the practice, check out the walking meditation that goes along with this piece. You'll find the link in the show notes, along with the link to the other meditations in this series. As always, thank you for joining me on this vital healing journey as we find our way back to ourselves and back to each other.